It's time now for County-Wide, a presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. You'll hear about the interesting issues and happenings that affect all our lives. Here's today's County-Wide.
Well, a good day again, everybody. I'm Brad Miller. It is County-Wide. Today, we're happy to welcome via Zoom this morning Jessica Gutman. Jessica is the Senior Regional Strategist with Best Friends Animal Society, a leading animal welfare organization across the nation. Jessica will be talking to us specifically from Utah today, and they very much advocate for the end of killing of cats and dogs in America's shelters, a sad reality for many shelters. Many of them face that. None of them want to do that, but it is a cruel necessity if we can say it kind of that way. So we're going to talk today about why that happens and what you as a pet owner can do to maybe bring an end to that situation. So Jessica Gutman, we say good day to you, and thank you for joining us.
My pleasure to be here. Hello.
And did I get that right? Today, I think we should note is National Pet Day, April 11th, and I don't think there's any better time to kind of talk a little bit about this. But did I get it right? Best Friends Animal Society, you do advocate for not, I hate to even use the word killing because it sounds as awful as it is, and perhaps that's how it works. What we should understand is some animals spend their lives in animal shelters and never leave, and you and your organization would like to bring an end to that. Is that right?
Yeah, that is correct. We want to see all shelters in the country reach no kill. And I think it's important to understand what no kill is and why we use the term kill. So we all know that if an animal is suffering medically or behaviorally from something very severe, euthanizing them is a mercy. And that is why we use the term kill, because it's different than euthanizing. That could be like if you're like if you have to euthanize an animal because you don't have enough space in your shelter. That's not really a mercy if they're healthy and could be adopted. So that's why we use the term kill. I do want to mention, though, that we don't call shelters kill shelters, even though they haven't reached the no-kill status yet, because we all know that they're working there to try and get to that level, and there are sometimes a lot of systemic issues that prevent them from reaching that as quickly as they'd like. So we still want those shelters to receive support from people, so we don't refer to them as kill. And back to no-kill, we look at being a benchmark of a 90% save rate. And the reason we go with 90% is typically in a shelter, you're going to see 10% or less of the animals that actually need euthanasia for mercy is about 10%. So that leaves you with 90% that can be adopted out. And
Right.
It's going to look a little bit different in every shelter if you're saving every healthy, treatable animal. But we're just using kind of 90% as a benchmark. And once all shelters get to 90%, then we can even dig down deeper and see what kind of resources we can allocate for tougher cases.
This is a tough subject, and I think I'm thinking that you perhaps would agree with me when I say, there's no winners here in this stark reality, this kind of sad reality that sometimes pets are available for adoption for so long it doesn't happen, and their number comes up. It's cold and cruel, but it's a reality, and I think most shelters would very much wish that was not the case, that funding, space, things like that, just were not part of the equation, but they simply are, and that's a sad reality to this. But it seems to me that the way that this tide can really be best turned is education for pet owners in the first place. Is that on the target?
Yes, I agree with you. Providing information to pet owners about how they can help shelters and their communities achieve no-kill is vital to the mission of having no-kill communities. Because we don't feel, you can't have just a no-kill shelter without the community support. It's a collective responsibility and collaboration between multiple stakeholders in the community, which includes pet owners.
It seems like we hit some bubbles, and I know with COVID we kind of did. We heard it two ways, that there were a lot of folks, because being confined in homes, families, that adoptions were up. And then as COVID eased, doggy, kitty surrenders were up. I know when the housing market, really kind of slumped here a number of years ago, we were working with local shelters. They were inundated. They'd never seen anything kind of like this, because so many people oftentimes literally were just walking out of their furnished homes, leaving furniture, leaving groceries, and leaving pets behind because of what had happened there. So one crisis after another has kind of compounded the problem in recent years. Is that on target?
Well, kind of. It's actually kind of interesting what happened with COVID. I mean, we did see in 2020 a lot of shelters get cleared and a lot of adoptions. And after that, the shelters started feeling full again. And there was a lot of assumption that if these were surrenders of people that might have adopted during COVID and now didn't have the time because they were returning to work.
Yeah.
But when we actually dig down and look at the data, it tells a really different story. They have the surrenders are actually still lower than they were pre-COVID. So even though there's always surrenders, that percentage hasn't gone up. But what we are seeing is a lot more intakes, which includes strays, and that the adoptions are actually slowed down. So these animals are staying in the shelter longer, creating that space issue where they're at capacity. And it's really kind of, it's just kind of a challenge for all shelters right now, because this is just sort of a unique situation that we haven't dealt with in quite a long time as a result of the pandemic. And, we can speculate why adoptions are down now. Is it the economy?
Right.
But we don't know for sure. But that's why if anyone's considering adopting a pet, that it would be helpful to go to a shelter to help one in need. And when you're adopting, you're not just saving that animal, you're opening that cage for another animal. Like you're saving two almost. Right.
Simply the space, the mechanism of kind of moving the pets into happy homes is going to be kind of an everybody kind of wins. Do you see this regionally? Is this pretty even across the country? Some of these kind of what you were mentioning there with the surrenders, the adoption ratios.
Yeah, we see that across the country. I think some areas it's harder than others. If there's, for example, a state where they already are almost no kill or completely no kill, it seems like they have a good population balance of what's coming in and getting adopted out. And there are a lot of places, typically in the southern portions of the country, where they just tend to have a lot more strays and it's harder to get them adopted out.
Yeah.
And I see it kind of hit them a little harder because a lot of those relied on transport to other organizations that might not have as many strays in their community. And while those have slowed down with adoptions, they're still able to maintain their no-kill, but they haven't been able to bring in as many transports from other states that need the help, who greatly need the help, because they just haven't had the capacity because the animals are staying longer. So I've seen kind of an impact there with some of the southern shelters kind of not having as many outcomes for their animals as they normally would.
Okay. So it can kind of work that way. I didn't know. I know sometimes regionally it happens like that. I know sometimes seasonally things like that can happen. Adopting pets for holiday time, say, and then we start to see some surrenders in the first of the year or things like that. I've seen that kind of pop up before. All right, well, let's do this. We need to do just a short break. Jessica Goodman is our guest today, Best Friends Animal Society. And Jessica is the senior regional strategist with that organization, and they advocate for no-kill policies at animal shelters. Can we make that a reality? We're trying to. We'll come back to Countywide right after this.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solaire, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley, and your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust with the revolutionary Comfort Bridge technology factory installed into select Goodman gas furnaces and air handlers to ensure the entire system operates at peak energy efficient performance. Verde Solaire offers free in-home estimates, locally owned and operated since 1983. Visit them at verdesolaire.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
Are you looking for a way to support your local schools? Then donate to the tax credit program today. Here's why. At Oak Creek School in Cornville, your tax credit dollars are used to fund field trips, provide sports uniforms, enrich our agriculture program, help our 8th grade students go to Washington, D.C., purchase playground equipment. Ready to donate? You could donate up to $200 as an individual or $400 for a married couple filing jointly. To donate at Oak Creek School, you can find the form on our website at ocs.cocsd.us.
Rice Accounting encourages you to make your Arizona tax donations now.
Let's talk. That's the message from Jonna Randall Murdoch, your local Farm Bureau agent, providing a personal touch when making insurance and financial decisions. Jonna will simplify your insurance needs while offering competitive pricing. Let's talk auto, home, life, and farm. Call Jonna at Farm Bureau today at 928-649-8686. Your Cottonwood Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company. At Farm Bureau, they insure more than just farms.
Welcome back to the program. I'm Brad Miller, Countywide. Again, Jessica Gutman. Jessica is Senior Regional Strategist with Best Friends Animal Society, and she is talking to us via Zoom from Utah today. Folks, consider, and we hope that I think people are slowly becoming educated that when it's time to adopt a doggy or a kitty, they do at least some research, do a little bit of looking into what it is they're doing, the lifelong commitment they're making to that pet. So hopefully the responsible pet owners and future pet owners do take that up. But Jessica, what advice or considerations would you ask of folks who are looking to adopt to kind of put at the top of their list of questions they should ask themselves?
Well, that's a very good question. It's really important for people to be realistic about their lifestyle and what they're willing to handle and have a good grasp on what that looks like before you go into an animal shelter, and make sure you find an animal that will fit your lifestyle. If you are somebody that likes to go hiking or running or biking all the time, you have a very active lifestyle, and it'd be easy to find, you might want to look for a more active animal that's very energetic and keep up with you. If you kind of like to hang out at home on the couch, an active animal like that might not be the best choice, and you might want to find a little lower key one. So it's just important to just, whatever you adopt, make sure it's going to match your lifestyle and be realistic about that. But then once you get your animal, there are some things that we recommend doing to keep your pet healthy and happy and safe. One of those is spaying and neutering. And now there are some benefits to that when you spay and neuter your animal. One of those is, sometimes, especially male dogs, if they are not spayed or neutered, might, try to roam the neighborhood in search of the lady dogs. And by spaying and neutering them, you are reducing that desire and their chance of roaming and running away, and also reducing the opportunity for them to have accidental litters of animals, because we don't want to add any more pets to the shelters than we already have. And then in addition to that, you would want to microchip your animal and make sure you register that. And microchipping, if you haven't heard of it, it's a little tiny implant the size of a grain of rice, and it goes underneath their skin, and it can be scanned with a reader, and it'll pull up this number that is unique to you and your pet. And then whoever is scanning it can call the microchip company that's associated with it and then get your contact information to reunite your pet to you. So that way, if your animal ever ends up missing and comes into a shelter or a veterinarian, they'll be able to be reunited with you through that microchip. And there's even stories of animals going missing and even being reunited years later thanks to a microchip.
Yeah, people who have moved, things like that. I know those are extraordinary stories. Do help me with something, because I'm thinking what you've said, I've misunderstood microchipping. If my dog runs away and is gone for 3 days, but he or she is microchipped, is it on me to contact the folks who make the microchip and wait for him to be discovered, or will, like, say he's found and taken into a humane shelter, humane society, for example, shelter 20 miles away, will they contact me?
Well, it's always a good idea to contact the microchip company. You can report your pet as lost. I mean, that way, if somebody, let's say, takes them to a veterinarian and is trying to keep them as their own, and the vet sees this number and calls in, they'll know that this pet is lost.
Okay.
I mean, it's probably a really minor chance of that happening, but that's always a good idea too, just in case. And then when an animal enters a shelter, the shelter scans them for a microchip, and then when they find that, they would reach out to you through your contact information that you have with the microchip company.
Okay, but it is something you should be active about. See, I didn't understand it that way. I thought it was just kind of like someone found them and it was like they had the address written on their collar type of thing. And it can work that way, but it sounds like it can be even better and more effective if you kind of take that initiative if a puppy goes missing to jump in there. Okay, that's great. I
absolutely.
Kind of didn't understand it that way. You mentioned spay and neuter. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's always good to have a tag on them too with your phone number, because if someone finds them with that, then they can get them home to you without even having to go into the shelter. But, sometimes tags fall off and things happen. So the microchip is a great, great permanent solution, but we always recommend a tag too.
Yeah, microchip stays there forever. All right, wonderful. I want to bounce back to the spay and neuter. Sometimes just you have conversations with folks about reasons they don't want to, and I can't tell you how many tough guys I've talked to who just, I wouldn't want him to do that to me. I'm not going to let him do it to him. And I want to say, but you think about it. He's not going to care, talking about the dog, and ultimately going to be probably happier, healthier, and a better neighbor and a better pet. I mean, isn't that just kind of what we've learned about that, particularly with male dogs? Because I think it's a lot of the guys that are more reticent to have their dogs fixed than it just seems like that. Maybe it's the crowd I run with. But, ultimately it's for the health and benefit of the pet.
Absolutely. Yeah. When people say that, they're kind of projecting human feelings onto the animal, but the animals don't really think like that.
Right.
So they're not going to have those same feelings about their manhood as their owners would. And the procedure, when they are neutered, they are anesthetized, they're unconscious, they get pain medicine. And it's kind of amazing to me, a surgery, you think you'd be a little sore, but it's so hard to keep them calm. Even after they get the surgery, they're running around and stuff. And I don't want to say that they're not in any pain, but it's clearly not super horrible to them since they are pretty easy to recover.
Yeah.
So it's it's not a bad procedure. They get really good care. They're unconscious when it happens. They get the pain meds. I don't even think they understand what happens.
Right. Well, and if you stop for a moment and consider what fate could befall the untold generations that can come from an unaltered pet, it seems to me like it's kind of an easy decision. All right. Jessica, we need to take another break. When we come back, I know that there's a couple of things you wanted to mention. Your no-kill dashboard, I know, was something you wanted to mention, so we'll do that. A few more minutes as we wrap up after a short break. Jessica Goodman, Senior Regional Strategist with Best Friends Animal Society. We'll break, and Countywide is back after this.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solaire, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley, and your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust with the revolutionary Comfort Bridge technology factory installed into select Goodman gas furnaces and air handlers to ensure the entire system operates at peak energy efficient performance. Verde Solaire offers free in-home estimates, locally owned and operated since 1983. Visit them at verdesolaire.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
Are you looking for a way to support your local schools? Then donate to the tax credit program today. Here's why. At Oak Creek School in Cornville, your tax credit dollars are used to fund field trips, provide sports uniforms, enrich our agriculture program, help our 8th grade students go to Washington, D.C., purchase playground equipment. Ready to donate? You could donate up to $200 as an individual or $400 for a married couple filing jointly. To donate at Oak Creek School, you can find the form on our website at ocs.cocsd.us.
Rice Accounting encourages you to make your Arizona tax donations now.
Let's talk. That's the message from Jonna Randall Murdoch, your local Farm Bureau agent, providing a personal touch when making insurance and financial decisions. Jonna will simplify your insurance needs while offering competitive pricing. Let's talk auto, home, life, and farm. Call Jonna at Farm Bureau today at 928-649-8686. Your Cottonwood Farm Bureau property and casualty insurance company. At Farm Bureau, they insure more than just farms.
And we come back to Countywide. Again, I'm Brad Miller. Jessica Goodman, Senior Regional Strategist, Best Friends Animal Society, speaking with us via Zoom today from Utah. You mentioned to me off mic, and I'd like you to share it with our listeners now that we're going here, the no-kill dashboard that Best Friends offers, I assume probably through your website. So what is that and how do I access it?
Absolutely. So for Best Friends, we are trying to get all shelters in the country to be no-kill, which is a 90% save rate by 2025. And you can look up what your community is or other communities that interest you. If you go to our website, which is bestfriends.org, they'll say No Kill 2025. And when you click on that, you're going to see this map of the entire country, and you can narrow down by state all the way to the county level. And that is what we call our pet life-saving dashboard. And it's going to show you each shelter in that community and what their save rate is, and if they are no kill or still working on reaching no kill. And this is really nice because it will help people understand what is going on in their community and also which shelters may need the help. So if you're looking at adopting, you may want to look at that and consider going to a shelter that has not reached no kill yet, because adopting from them is going to help them get there.
Gotcha. Okay. So bestfriends.org.
That is correct. Bestfriends.org.
Okay.
And then when you're on the website, right on the top, right in the front, it's going to say No Kill 2025. And when you click on that, it's going to take you to that pet life-saving dashboard so you can check what your community's shelters' save rates are.
Okay. Now, I want to make sure that folks understand this isn't so that shelters that do put down animals because of space, because of cost considerations. I think we're all on the same team here. The approaches are a little bit different, and if enough of us kind of work together with resources, with time commitments, with spaying and neutering our pets and being very responsible pet owners, eventually perhaps all shelters could become no-kill shelters. Wouldn't that be the ideal?
Absolutely. And that is what we are trying to do every day. And we believe that we can get there, especially with the help of the community. And by spaying and neutering, it'll help us get there a lot quicker. Like so many things, it starts at the basic level with just you and I being responsible pet owners and animal lovers, and all of us doing the best we can. Jessica Goodman, again, Best Friends Animal Society, bestfriends.org is the website. We appreciate the work that you do, and we thank you very much for being a part of our program today. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure to be here. It's Countywide. We'll see you next time.
This has been Countywide. Listen in each Tuesday and Thursday at this time. If you have a topic or guest idea that you'd like to suggest, email us news@myradioplace.com.